Hello, is that Charles Armitage?
Yes, that's right.
Hello, Mr. Armitage. It's Caroline Jones here.
Oh, hello.
Mr. Armitage, I'm terribly sorry. I'm afraid I have to ask you if we can reschedule our meeting next week. Something has come up. Unfortunately, I can't get out of it.
Oh, that's all right. Do you have another time in mind?
Well, could we postpone the meeting until Wednesday at the same time? Would that suit you?
Let me see. Yes, that would be fine.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Armitage. Sorry to inconvenience you. It couldn't be helped, I'm afraid.
Don't worry, Caroline, that's fine. Oh, do you mind if I call you Caroline?
No, not at all. Well, I'll see you on Wednesday, Charles.
See you then. Bye for now.
Unit 1, Exercise 9.
OK. Note about Dresden contract and Ian Sweeney. Email Anna asking her to arrange for the meeting with Ian and his guys. All the usual stuff. Book a meeting room and ask her to email the room number to me and Ian. Circulate the agenda to Ian and the consultants. Reserve audio-visual equipment. We'll need a data projector and an OHP. Order some refreshments. And she'll need to attend the meeting and take the minutes. Right, now the next thing is to...
Unit 2, Exercise 1. 1.
Hi, George. How are things down in logistics?
Oh, you know how it is, Steve. Overworked, underpaid, the usual.
Tell me about it.
How are Mandy and the kids?
Keeping me busy, I can tell you. Did you see the football on Saturday?
Oh, awful, wasn't it?
Terrible. Look, we'll be late for this kick-off meeting. We better hurry up.
Two.
Hello, Paula. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. Glad you could make it to our kick-off meeting today. Did you find a parking space all right?
Yes, no problem at all. But the weather's terrible, so it took us longer than usual to drive down.
I'm afraid you've brought the rain with you from the north. It's usually warm and sunny here.
Oh, I hope not. George, have you met my colleague, Juliet Strauss?
Hello, I'm George Frank. Pleased to meet you.
Juliet Strauss. Pleased to meet you too.
Three.
Good to see you again, Steve.
Hello, Paula. Good to see you too.
How are you settling into your new job?
Well, it's a lot of work, but I'm really enjoying it.
That's great. Oh, Steve, let me introduce my colleague, Andre Jacob.
Hello, Steve. I'm Andre. How do you do?
How do you do, Andre? I think I've spoken to you a few times on the phone.
That's right. It's nice to meet you in person.
Unit 2, Exercise 6.
Okay, is everybody here? We're still waiting for Nigel. Oh, here he is. Morning, Nigel. Take a seat. Now, it's nice to see everyone. Before we begin, can I introduce Tim McCarthy to you all? For those of you who don't already know, Tim is from our advertising agency and he's going to give us an overview of his plans for our new advertising campaign. Welcome, Tim.
Hello. Nice to meet you all.
Right. Now, Sally Jones has sent her apologies. She can't be with us today because she had to go to a meeting in Brussels, and Pierre Kaufman can't make it either. Okay, as I said in the agenda I emailed last week, we'll be discussing our strategies for increasing sales. You all know that our sales have been slower recently, and we need to do something to change this. John Lawson from marketing will be giving us an overview of what our competitors are doing. After that, Alison King will present an analysis of some of the problems with our sales strategy at the moment. We need to make some important decisions today. So let's have some clear, constructive thinking, everybody. Right, now, let's get down to business.
Unit 2, Exercise 8.
All right, everyone. Thanks for being here today. So, let's get going. Does everyone know Peter Thompson? No? Nicola? You two haven't met?
No.
Oh, okay. Peter, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Peter Thompson, and I'm the new partnership manager. I've been with Brent Jones since 2002. I was the business development manager for the West for 2 years, but now I've come to join you all at the head office.
Well, welcome to the centre of the universe, Peter. Right, this is Nicola Sullivan. She's our press officer, and this is Frank Arnold. Frank joined us 2 months ago as our head of PR. Right, so let's all...
Unit 2, Exercise 11. A.
Our advertising agency has been looking in detail at our rebranding options, and they've come up with 3 alternatives for our new corporate image. Now, if you look at this slide, you can see some of our suggestions.
B.
Now, Charlotte Field can't be with us today. Our bankers have some more questions that she had to go off and answer. She's asked me to postpone discussing this paper about...
C.
Yes, there is one issue I'd like us to discuss which didn't find its way onto the agenda today. We heard yesterday that Abredia Limited have started discussing a possible merger with Borafed. We have to do something.
D.
Well, in the last meeting, I didn't actually say that we should definitely cancel our initial public offering. What I did say was that we should put it back if the stock market remains weak. Could we please change the minutes to accurately reflect what I said?
E.
Okay, as you can see from the minutes, we agreed at the last meeting that HR would advertise for a shareholder relations manager. James, how are you getting on with that? Any strong candidates yet?
Unit 2, Exercise 12.
Ralph Smith here.
Hi, Ralph. Polly here. Jack has asked me to draw up a quick agenda for next week's regional sales meeting. Are there any points that you want to see on it?
Next week? I thought it was the week after next.
No, remember? Jack couldn't come and we moved it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, when is it exactly then?
Thursday. That's the 13th of February at 9:30 in the main meeting room.
Okay, right.
Well, have you got anything for the agenda?
1 or 2 things, maybe. What points have you got already?
Well, let me see. Francesca wants us to discuss the sales targets for the next 3 months. And I've also got a note from Michael Warner saying that he wants to review which team members are responsible for key accounts.
Okay, well, I think we should look at the feedback from marketing about the research that they've just finished.
Right.
And I've got some copies of the most recent catalogues from our competitors we should discuss.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Polly.
Okay. I'll email the agenda to everyone this afternoon.
Unit 3, Exercise 1.
Right, I think that deals with all the preliminaries. So, let's get down to business. OK, it's time for us to hear from George Finch. George is going to review our recent sales performance. Over to you, George.
Thanks, Karen. Right. Overall, our sales performed well in the last quarter. I think this was due to excellent work by our production team. 1 or 2 of our teams are really marketing their conferences well. But when we look at our individual sectors, you'll see that some did better than others. Here's a quick overview of the situation. Let's look at telecoms first. The market is still a bit depressed because of debt and lower share prices. Despite this, the telecom sector's sales were really good, much better than we had expected. And actually, this made our overall figures better than they would have been. Sales were up here for the reason that the telecoms team performed extremely well.
Great news, George. We should think about rewarding the telecoms team somehow, but go on.
Thanks, Karen. OK, let's turn now to pharmaceuticals. As you can see, Pharmaceuticals was at the other end of the scale. Sales performed very poorly here. I think this was as a result of some bad planning on our part. 2 other conference organisers held events about the new advertising regulations before we did. No one came to our conference because they'd heard it all from our competitors first. I'll move on to the finance sector now. Things were not too bad here. The guys on the finance team performed well as ever. Now, what about IT? Well, the IT sector performed poorly. The reason being that we made some mistakes in our market research. We just didn't seem to understand what IT people were interested in during the last quarter. OK, that was that. Now, let me turn to our sales in the current quarter.
Unit 3, Exercise 7.
The project team performed quite poorly. It was slow to contact the subcontractors and late in completing the tendering process, which meant...
Yes, but I think that there weren't enough.
Hold on a moment, please, Harry. We'll come right back to you.
As I was saying, the tendering process was completed later than planned. That meant that the first stage of building work didn't begin until November. And then, of course, we lost more time due to bad winter weather.
Could I possibly make a point here?
Yes, go on.
Well, we just didn't know that the weather was going to be so bad and that work would be delayed for so long.
I hear what you're saying, but look, it was winter and we should always plan for bad weather in winter. Well, anyway, all of this could have been avoided if we'd made a better job of the initial planning. We just have to do this better on future projects. Now, what about...
Can I come in here, Norman?
Yes, of course.
Let's not forget that we had problems with our new project management software. But they've been solved now, so these difficulties with planning won't happen again.
OK, it's true that we've got over the software problems, but that doesn't mean that we don't have to concentrate a bit more on project planning in future. Poor planning is just too expensive. If we don't pay more attention to this, then...
Sorry to interrupt you, but can I make a point here?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, what you're saying is mostly true, but I think we should stop talking about what happened and start to look at what we need to do.
Unit 3, Exercise 8. Meeting 1.
It's obvious. Outsourcing logistics has not really worked. We no longer have control and we're losing production time every month now. We should bring logistics back in-house as quickly as possible.
Hold on. Can I make a point here?
Sorry, but I haven't finished what I was saying. Look, we're not reaching our output targets because of these problems. Why do we have the problems? Because Buxton services don't understand our needs. Let's bring logistics back in-house and stop wasting time.
Yeah, but Ralph, as I wanted to say, we've cut our costs dramatically since we started working with Buxton. We can't just insource logistics and lose these savings.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm afraid I really don't follow your argument.
Can I just finish? I'm not prepared to see our costs rise because some of us are nervous about outsourcing.
Are you finished?
Yes, I am.
Good. Well, I just wanted to say that I don't think we are saving money because outsourcing is slowing down our production process. We need to radically review our relationship with Buxton. We can't just go into...
Meeting 2.
Right. So, Faber has finally made its takeover offer. The question is, do we recommend that our shareholders accept the offer? What do we all think? Robert, do you want to start us off?
Never mind the shareholders. What about the company and its employees? We have absolutely no guarantee that Faber are not going to lay off half of our workforce. That should...
Robert, we've already agreed that we...
If I could just finish, please. Yes, it is important to think about the workforce when deciding whether or not to recommend this offer. Frankly, I would be surprised if Faber didn't fire most of our people and sell our assets.
Robert, can I come in now? OK. Well, as I was trying to say, we've already agreed that shareholder value is the most important factor for us as a board. That means we have to recommend that our shareholders accept. Besides, once our shareholders see the details of Faber's offer, they're going to accept anyway. Nothing we can say will change that.
Can I say something here? I'm afraid that I don't understand.
Just a moment. You'll get a chance to speak soon.
No, wait, let's hear what Sue has to say. Sue?
You said yourself about 2 weeks ago that we have most of our shareholders where we want them and that they'll do what we tell them to do. Now...
Yes, but I don't...
Let me finish, please. This takeover is not definite. I think we should stand back and think about what's going to be best for the company as a whole, not just the shareholders.
Unit 4, Exercise 1.
OK, this won't take long. I just want to spend a few minutes brainstorming some questions for the project manager group interview on Wednesday. Let's forget the simple things. Obviously, we need to think of some difficult questions about project management. Who wants to get the ball rolling?
Personally, I think we should ask about project planning. Something like, we think that the success of a project depends on the planning stage. Would you like to comment on that?
Not so fast. I'm writing this down. Good.
Oh, and how about this? In our experience, it's best to decide which staff will be on the project team before the project planning is completed. Do you agree?
Okay, and frankly, I think that we haven't asked enough questions about team building in the past. What about this? The most important factor in a successful project team is that its members work well together. Tell us what you think about this.
Excellent. Here's another one. Teams should be made up of junior staff as well as managers. Does anyone want to say anything about that?
And how about this? Basically, it's more important to meet a project deadline than to guarantee the quality of the project outcome. What do you think about that?
And what do you think of this question, Tom? Project objectives should be flexible. You should be able to change them as the project progresses. Does anyone want to give us their views on this?
Right, I've got all that now. To be honest, that's probably all we'll have time to talk about. Good work, everyone. Hopefully we'll find someone in this round of interviews who can take over our Australian project.
Unit 4, Exercise 6.
OK, so we have a proposal on the table here that we should outsource our facility management to the White Group. Craig has made a strong case for this, so we know where he stands. Can I just invite some comments from the rest of you? Helen, do you agree that we should go ahead with the proposed outsourcing?
Absolutely. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think that it'll mean a lot more time to get on with other things. It's clear that it'll allow us to concentrate more on our core business activities. That's got to be a good thing.
How do you feel, William?
I can't go along with this, Oliver. In my experience, outsourcing causes too many communication problems. In fact, I think the whole thing is a terrible idea. I simply don't see how we can give up control of such an important aspect without there being problems. No, I'm afraid I can't agree.
What about you, Claire? Where do you stand?
Personally, I support the idea up to a point. There could be big cost savings for us in this, but I think we should spend more time thinking about the potential disadvantages. I mean, we think we're going to save lots of time by doing this, but any time we save may be used making sure that whites are doing what they're supposed to do. I think this could mean a lot of work for us. The other thing is that communication could be a big issue. I feel that this is something we have to look at very carefully.
I'm not sure whether or not I agree with Craig's proposal. I need some more time to think it over. To be honest, I would probably want to have some further information from some of their other customers before I could take the idea more seriously.
Unit 4, Exercise 9.
Right. So, Larry, you were at that conference about internet telephony last week. Why don't you tell us all about it? Do you think that voice over IP is for us? Do you really think it makes sense for us to use our computers to make all our phone calls?
I've got to say, I don't think it is. Before I went, I was pretty excited. You know, the potential cost savings for us in telephoning over the internet are impressive. But the current voice over IP solutions are, frankly, rather unsatisfactory.
Really? How come?
There is still a basic problem with quality of service. They spent a lot of time at the conference trying to convince us that low quality of service would soon be a thing of the past. but the technical demonstrations that they gave were mediocre. There are still lots of problems with poor voice quality.
It all sounds a bit below standard.
Right. One of the demonstrations was actually really terrible. Metroloop asked for a telephone number from a member of the audience and then tried to call it, but they couldn't establish the call. It was really embarrassing. They tried about 5 times, but in the end they said that the call probably couldn't be established because of a firewall at the guy's company.
That's awful.
Isn't it? It was all a little disappointing, I must say. I certainly wouldn't recommend switching to voice over IP now. The technology is still pretty inadequate.
Unit 5, Exercise 1.
Isabel, Andrew, thank you both for coming in today. I wanted to have this meeting with you to follow up on our conversation on the phone last week. As I mentioned, we're planning to expand our network. I want to explore the possibility that you could help us with this.
I'm sure that we can work something out for you. Let's talk about the basic requirements and then we can take it from there.
Fine.
Okay, so you're talking about buying more personal computers for your computer network, right? How many new PCs are we looking at?
That depends on how much they would cost, but basically we need between 40 and 55 new PCs. If the price is right, we'll be able to buy more.
OK, let's leave the issue of price until later. Of course, the price would also depend on the specifications you want for each PC.
That's right. Obviously, the higher the specifications, the more it's going to cost you.
Right. If you prepare some different options for me, I'll compare the prices and specifications, then make a choice.
Sure.
We don't have much time to play with here. Could you deliver quickly if we gave you the order?
Once you've decided what you want, we'll be able to get them out to you within a week.
Well, that sounds pretty good. Now, what about installing the new PCs? Would you do that, or would you contract out?
We prefer to take care of that ourselves.
Splendid. And what about after-sales service? That's really important for us. We would be prepared to pay more if we received a good level of service backup. What can you offer us there?
Well, there's a range of possibilities. We'll go back to the office and draw up a detailed quotation for you. We'll include the full range of service packages that we can offer you. Once you've chosen what you want, we can figure that into the contract.
Good. Now, price. I know you can't give me an exact quotation at the moment, but can you give me a rough idea of how much this would cost?
Sorry, but it's hard to say at this stage. We'll get back to you as soon as we can on that.
I think I should mention that we'd like a discount on the price, since we're placing such a big order. Would that be a possibility?
I'll have to see what I can do. I might be able to offer you a better price. Let me get back to you on that too.
Unit 5, Exercise 9.
And for all these reasons, reducing our costs, increasing productivity, increasing our presence in Central and Eastern Europe, I propose to the board that we look at shutting down our plant in Germany and moving production to our plant in Slovakia.
Christian, that's a radical proposal, but you've said what we've all been thinking for some time. Is anyone willing to second Christian's proposal?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Nadine. Right. We need to make a decision here. Let's put this to a vote. All those in favour? Against? Regina, are you abstaining?
That's right, I abstain.
OK. So, Christian's motion is carried. 7 votes for, none against, and 1 abstention. Have you got a note of that for the minutes, Ms. Michaels? Excellent. So, right, it's quite late and we're a bit pressed for time. I propose that we wind up now and get back together next week. Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah.
So let's meet again on Thursday next week. In the meantime, I'll ask our advisors at Stratagem to start work on an action plan. We can look at that next time and decide on how to divide up the responsibilities. Right, now I don't think that I have to remind you not to tell anyone about today's meeting. We've decided that we're going to look at ways of shutting down our main German production base. That means 340 lost jobs. We're going to be pretty unpopular, so let's keep quiet about this for as long as possible.
Unit 6, Exercise 1.
Right, let's wrap things up here. Good work as always. Before you all go, I just want to go over what we've decided this afternoon. Now, we've decided to redesign our current offices rather than moving into new premises. So, we've decided that we'll contact 3 interior designers and ask them to give quotations for redesigning the office. Mike, I think we agreed that you're going to investigate that for us.
Right, John. And I'll look for some interior design software which might help us do the job ourselves.
OK, but don't spend too much time on that. As we agreed, it'll be better to leave the job to the professionals. Now, we also talked about employing a facility manager who will coordinate the redesign at our end. Now, Sue, you're going to talk to Human Resources in Dundee and ask them to agree to this.
That's right, John.
Splendid. Andy, you'll get in touch with the building company that did some work for us 3 years ago to see if they'd like to submit a quotation for the building work.
Will do, John. And I'll ask 2 other builders to put in quotes as well.
Great. And Steffi, you're going to look for some new office furniture for us.
Yes, that's right.
And Steffi, don't forget that we agreed we don't want to spend too much on furniture. Try to find something modern and stylish at a price that we can afford.
OK, John.
Nick, we agreed that we need to plan carefully how we'll keep the office running smoothly during the building and redesigning work. You're going to plan how we can best do this.
Yeah, that's right, John.
And that just leaves me. I'll talk to our bank and see how they can help us to cover the work. Now, let's fix a time for our next meeting. Does the 8th of March at 3:30 suit everyone? Yes? Splendid. Well, that concludes our business for today. Thanks for your active participation this afternoon. We really got through a lot of business.
Unit 6, Exercise 3.
I've got to say, I think we've made the right decision here today. We've needed more detailed information about our costs for a long time. I'm certain that this new method is the right place to start. What do you think, Petra?
I think you're right, Ken. So, can we just confirm that everyone knows what they've got to do before the end of next week? Now, Alex and I are going to look at whether we need some help. We'll set up a meeting with Modulus and talk to them about the work they've done at ABC.
Right, and I'll take a look at what sort of software modules are out there that might let us do the job ourselves.
Right, Alex. And then we'll put our heads together and decide whether we really need a consultant on this or whether we can manage alone with software.
OK, and I'll set up a meeting with the team leaders in dispatching to get their support.
That's an important job, Edward. We need to ensure buy-in from the frontline guys or it isn't going to work.
Don't worry, Alex. Edward can handle it.
I'm sure he can. Now, Ken, remind us what you'll be doing?
Well, I'll draft an action plan that will take us through to the November board meeting.
Excellent. OK, let's finish there and get started on our work. If we can manage to...
Unit 6, Exercise 4. 1.
Morning, everyone. OK, we're here today to talk about whether we need to take on more staff in our call centre. Now, Vanessa won't be able to make it because she's on a training course, but she has told me that she supports the idea of increasing the size of the call centre team. Paul can't be with us either. His daughter's ill and he has to take her to the doctor.
2.
OK, I think we've talked this over enough now. Can we just have a show of hands? Right. All those in favour of increasing the size of the call centre team? OK, 4. And then Vanessa's vote, that makes 5. All those against? 2. Right. Well, sorry you two, but it looks like we'll be hiring new people. Now let's continue with...
3.
Right, can we just go over who's going to do what? Otherwise I'm going to get really confused. So I'm going to let Human Resources know that we want to hire more staff. And Susie, you're going to write a job description for the call centre staff.
Right, Sheila.
OK, and David, you're going to write a draft of the job advertisement for Human Resources.
That's right, Sheila. And what about booking the training centre for the new staff? Am I doing that as well?
No, I'm going to do that, unless you want to do it as well.
No, Sheila, you can do it.
4.
Right. Thanks for that, everyone. I look forward to our call centre having a decent number of staff. We've needed to do this for some time. I'm sure the existing staff will welcome the increase in manpower. Right, now don't forget that we'll meet again next Wednesday. That's the 20th of May at 10:30 a.m.
Didn't we say 11? Remember I said that
Sorry, that's right. 11 a.m.
Where are we meeting, Sheila?
That's a good question, actually. I think the meeting rooms are booked for sales training for the whole of next week. Why don't we just meet in my office?
Sounds good.
Unit 6, Exercise 6. A.
Well, Mr. Marks, thank you once again for finding the time to come and visit us today. It really was a pleasure to meet you in person at last.
The pleasure was all mine. And thank you for taking the time to show me round your plant. It really was fascinating.
I'm glad that you found it interesting. If we can get our people to put their heads together, hopefully you'll be able to come back again soon and see your machine tools being used here.
I certainly hope so.
Well, Mr. Marks, Matthew will show you back down to reception. I hope that you have a safe journey home. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mrs. Cooper, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Likewise, Mr. Marks.
If you'll just come this way, I'll see you down to reception.
Thanks.
B.
Right, and I look forward to receiving these samples from you next week.
Yep, I'll get them to you by Thursday at the latest.
Here we are, Roger. I'll just call the lift for you. Well, thanks for coming along this afternoon.
It was a pleasure as always, Catherine. Enjoy your holiday in France.
Oh, don't worry, I will. You can think of me sampling all that food and wine while you're slaving away at work. Here's your lift. Bye for now, Roger. Have a safe trip back to Birmingham.
Bye, and see you again soon, Catherine.
Bye now.
C.
OK, guys, that's everything. Carl and Gary, thanks for joining us today.
Don't mention it. It was very useful to be in on your meeting.
Actually, I think we should do this more often. Interdepartmental meetings are all very well, but you don't get an idea of what's really going on in other departments unless you go to their team meetings.
That's a fantastic idea. I'll speak to the other heads and see what they think.
Anyway, I'd better be going. I have another meeting in 5 minutes.
OK. See you guys later for lunch?
Not today. I'm off for a lunch meeting with a customer.
I'll be in the canteen as usual. See you about 1?
See you then. See you tomorrow, Gary.
Unit 1, Exercise 1. Call 1.
Ian Sweeney?
Hello, Ian. Mark Peters from the legal department here.
Oh, hello, Mark. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How about you?
Not too bad. Busy as ever.
Have you got a minute, Ian? I'm calling about some changes we're going to make to the contract with GBT. There are a few clauses I'd like to discuss with you and your team before you start to negotiate the contract. Could we schedule a time to meet next week?
OK, how about Monday at 9?
Sorry, I can't make it then. I'm at the Brighton office on Monday morning. How about sometime after lunch? About 2?
Yes, I can manage that. OK, I'll get the team together for 2. Should we plan for the whole afternoon?
We may be able to get through the new version of the agreement quite quickly. But then again, let's leave the length of the meeting open for now.
That sounds sensible. So I'll see you on Monday at 2.
Thanks, Ian. I'll have my assistant send you a quick email to let you know where we're meeting and give you an outline of what I'd like to discuss. See you on Monday then.
Call 2.
Good morning, Charles Armitage.
Good morning, Mr. Armitage. This is Caroline Jones from Rainbow Search.
As in headhunters?
That's right.
Aha. And what can I do for you?
I'll come straight to the point, Mr. Armitage. I have a client who's looking for someone to head up their Central and Eastern European consulting team. We'd like to talk to you about the job.
Thank you for your interest in me, but I'm not planning on changing companies right now. I've invested a lot in my career here at Fisher Group. I hope to become a partner in a couple of years.
Mr. Armitage, my client is very serious about this offer. They will increase your current salary dramatically if you accept the job, and you could expect to be made a partner by the middle of next year at the latest.
Well, that's interesting. But look, it's difficult for me to discuss this with you on the phone.
Perhaps we could meet and go over the details in person?
Yes, okay. It would be interesting to hear a bit more.
Right. Would it be possible for us to meet on Monday evening next week?
What time do you have in mind?
Would 5:30 suit you?
I'm afraid I have another appointment then. How about 7:30 instead?
Yes, that would be fine.
And how long should we plan on meeting for?
Let's say about an hour and a half. Is that all right for you?
Yes, that's fine.
Good. Then, can I suggest we meet at our London offices? My assistant, Joanna, will also be joining us. We're in Great Russell Street, near the British Museum. Number 11.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll see you on Monday at 7:30 then.
Wonderful. I look forward to meeting you then.